Can you listen to me? Música de fundo? Hello, Johnny. How are you, mister? Johnny is the nickname of my son, you know? Where are you from, man? Can you listen to me, Johnny? Okay. All right. São Paulo, yes. My son's nickname is Johnny. That's right. Hello, Jarbas. Good evening. How are you? Okay. Good to know, Johnny. How long have you been teaching, guys? How long have you been teaching English? Jarbas and Johnny. Praia Grande is a nice place, huh? I was there like 2 years ago. Beautiful location. 5 years now. All right. I have to tell that I've taught English for about 20 years now. 20. I started in 1999, guys. 1999. It's been quite a while. All right. Let's just wait 1 or 2 more minutes before we start. It's almost, to me here, it's almost 8 o'clock. So let's just talk a little bit more, just have a chat a little bit before we start for the real thing, let's say. It's been a long road, very long, and very pleasant, let's say. Not easy, though. A lot of learning and teaching, of course. Okay, so we have Johnny, we have Jarbas. Is anybody else here? Let me see. Okay. And guys, just for me to understand a little bit, you teach English mostly to children, adults, a little bit of everything. The more we teach, the more we learn. You're right, Jarbas. It's incredible how much we learn from teaching, huh? Very much. When I started, first years was like amazing. More adults, yeah, just like me. Mostly kids. Okay, Jarbas. It's a little bit more challenging. Kids. My perception, yeah. Okay, guys. Well, let's get started then. Well, as I said before, first of all, let me introduce myself and introduce the purpose of this conversation today. First of all, I'd like to thank you for joining me in this conversation, this chat, let's say. I hope I can help you in your journeys, endurance, in your time teaching from now on online, because actually my perception is that online teaching, digital teaching has come to stay. We don't know, actually, we don't know how long we will have this situation for. Like the vaccine is not that soon. I believe it's not so soon as we were expecting. So we have to get better and better on digital, and because even after the vaccine and even after we have this cure, let's say, we will probably continue teaching online, and at least we will have a hybrid. We'll be hybrid teachers, let's say, online and as much as possible in person, which of course I believe you prefer and I prefer. But online teaching is very pleasant too, and it's time saving, let's say. Guys, just for you to know, if you have any questions, any doubts, you can write your questions here, your comments. Just let me know. Feel free, okay? First of all, let me talk a little bit about my own experience as a teacher, a digital teacher. Okay, I started in this journey, let's say 9 years ago, to be precise, 9 years ago, on Skype. And in the beginning, I'll tell you that it was a disaster. It was not good. I thought it would never work. I have to tell you, it was really awkward. And I had this perception that, my God, this is not going to work. But I had this student here in Porto Alegre that I went to her house for the classes. Was a private student I had, and she moved to São Paulo, and she wanted to continue the classes. And then there was this option to have these classes on Skype. Okay, 9 years ago, and we started. And oh my, we had the whole material, books and everything, analogic, and I felt like so strange. The dynamic of the classes were strange, you know. But I kept going. I continued and everything, and with time, I learned little by little how to work online. And one thing that I would advise teachers, all teachers who work online, is that the first thing you have to have in mind when you teach online is to have one very specific, one very clear purpose of the class. I like to give classes a title. For example, today we are going to work on job satisfaction. Okay, so then the topic of our class today is job satisfaction. Before the class, prior to the class, I select some questions about the topic, just introduce the topic with the students. And then after some time, you know, you have this experience to select a video, a nice video and a nice reading. But I'll talk about that later on with you, about this, how to prepare materials and how to prepare the activities, okay? But one thing that is very, very important, guys, in this digital experience and digital online teaching is to have a good equipment. Not the best, but good. You have to listen very well, and students need to listen to you well. The internet has to be good signal, good connection. This is very important. One class here, another class there. Sometimes we always have one bad day, a rainy day, that the internet is not so good, but it has to be exception, okay, an exception in this case. Something that is very important, I consider very important, is the fact that you have to pay attention to the surroundings, you know. Has to be quiet, has to be, I would say, in your background, you have to have, let's say, it has to be plain as possible. Nothing to call people's attention, no kids crossing, then the dog, people, has to be as plain as possible. We are seeing on television lots of people working from home, and they have books all the time. They have books at their surroundings, and then you can see that they really pay attention to that. And we as teachers also need to pay attention to that. So this is an important aspect of this process, okay? A nice place, a nice environment, nice equipment. And what happens when a student, guys, when a student has a problem, and you have a group of people interacting, and then there is always this student with connection problems, what do you usually do? Does it happen to you? Has it ever happened to you, guys? Jarbas, Johnny? You can write there if you will. What do you do in these cases? When a student has internet problems, bad connection, well, what I do, guys, if I have a group of students and it's really a problem that affects the whole class, after some time, I need to try to reschedule or find another solution for that student, and even ask them, this student, specific student, to leave the class, to try to reconnect, find solutions. But when it's, or postpone, when it's a class with one student, okay, perfect, no problem. You can postpone, find another day for this class. But when it's a group, 3, 4, 5 students, so then you have to find another solution, help, of course, but not waste so much time. 3, 5 minutes most in terms of time to help this student. And let them know, even in the beginning of the course, that when it happens, they might leave the class, and after some time, after the class or in another opportunity, you have, let's say, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, just to let that student not feel so like they are losing the classes because of that connection, you know. So this is very important, surrounding internet signal, the quality of your material, Never, this is what I tell teachers, never, ever use cell phone for the classes. You have to have a laptop or a desktop for the classes. Yeah, that's true, Jarbas. It should not be frequent, especially for this case, when you have, let's say, the same student with problems, you have to ask this student to fix this problem. This problem of replacement should be like not a rule. I agree with you. What is the tool we use? We don't use Skype, we don't use Zoom. The tool that we use, the website we use is called, let me write here for you, doing a free advertisement for this company. It's called whereby.com. Whereby.com. We use this website, this tool platform, let's say, for our classes. It's a platform that you can have up to 4 people at the same time, the teacher, and 3 students at the same time. It's for free. There is a version that you pay, and you can have up to 11 students and the teacher, so 12 people at the same time. But the free version, you can have up to 3 students, and the time is limited. You can have 1 hour class, 2-hour class, and it's a very good tool. You can share screen. There is the chat box, which is very simple, and you can access this website. For example, let's say Johnny, you can make your account whereby.com/Johnny. It's for free, Johnny. And it's very user-friendly. Very user-friendly. You can share screen, share other materials that you prepare. The website is not a heavy one, so if the connection is not so good, it still works. Only if it's very bad, your connection. So then it's not gonna work very well. But if the connection you have, let's say 5 or even 3 megabytes, it's going to work. So it's a very good tool. This is the one I have tested. I have tried other platforms, but this one for me is the best one. Whereby, and then you just send this whereby, for example, Johnny, whereby.com/Johnny, you have your account, and then you send to your students this link, and it's the same link. They just access the website there, and you don't need to keep sending a new link all the time, like Zoom, for example. It's the same link. It's like you have your domain. It's like your own domain, you know? So, after the equipment, after talking about the surrounding, also the platform, what about the preparation and the activities? The preparation and the activities, guys, of course, that it will vary if it's for kids or for adults. Okay, thank you, Jarbas. Thank you. It's a very good one. Preparation and activities, okay? I believe you have already perceived that online classes, you have a completely new focus. The focus, it's a lot more demanding from you as a teacher and from students also. Because in one classroom, or if you go to a student's place, house, or workplace, there is always some distractions, and it's not 100% focused like online classes, digital classes. So this is something that we have to take into consideration for preparing classes. You know, when you are preparing classes, the focus is very intense. So how do you break the activities? How do you have the let's say the reading activities, the video activities, the exercises, when they write, which is something I like a lot them to do, write a little bit. How do you do that? Well, as I said before in the beginning, when you prepare an activity, or when you prepare your classes and the activities, of course, something very important, guys, you have the books, and regardless the book you use, we have to make the classes attractive, compelling to students. Why? Because the focus they need to be focused and pay attention, and any distraction will cause will disturb the class in terms of attention span, you know. So the activities need to be interesting. The topic of the class needs to be interesting. As I said before, if you are going to have a class and the topic of the class is job satisfaction. Okay, I go to Google, let's say, and I write there job satisfaction videos. Okay, today I want to work with a video. I go there, I check some videos on the topic. Of course, you have to pay close attention to the level. It has to be a little bit easier than what you expect, not so difficult. Of course, you have to observe the level of your students. So this is for sure. And then when you select the topic, also you prepare some questions. When you select the video, or when you select a reading activity, have some questions on it. Write some questions on it based on the video, based on the topic. And before you introduce the topic, you also can ask your students to ask some questions about the topic. Let's say, Johnny or Jarbas, today we will talk about, our class is about job satisfaction, okay? But before we talk about this topic, Johnny, I would like you to write one question or two questions on it, on job satisfaction. Okay, after this time, after 3 minutes, 2 minutes, your students write the questions, and then you have a discussion on the questions that you can write. As I said, I write some questions before the class, and your students can write these questions, 2 or 3 questions during the class because of the topic, and then it's an opportunity to make some corrections when they write these questions. And then you have this conversation. Okay, let's talk about your question, Johnny. Let's imagine what makes you very happy, or what makes you feel very satisfied when you teach English. Gamification is nice. This is very good for kids, Jarvis. Yeah, this is Jarvis. This is critical. It has to happen. You know, all the topics must be of their interest. We have to, this is one thing we have to pay attention. Has to be interesting, compelling, as I said. And then you have this first conversation with the students based on their questions, based on your questions, and then you go for the activity, which can be a video. Okay, Johnny, as I was saying, Johnny, let's take a look at a video that I prepared for us today. Let's take a look. So then in our web whereby platform, it's very easy to share the video, especially if the video is from YouTube. So you can share it at the same time in the same screen, and everyone can watch at the same time. Or if you prefer, you can send the link to the student. But in this case, on whereby you can watch the video, the teacher and all students at the same time, and that's very interesting, very good. They really enjoy. All right, so let's see, Jarbas. I use topics, and it works well for intermediate and advanced students. Yeah, pre-intermediate too. Pre-intermediate too. Let me tell you about this, Jarbas, your sentence here. I usually try to have a very communicative class after students start to be able to handle the language, when they are, let's say, making mistakes, making a lot of mistakes, but they are speaking the language. So then I go to this kind of classes that I'm explaining to you. Of course, that when students cannot produce any language, cannot speak anything, so then you have to have a less, let's say, interactive in terms of speaking, of course, class. You have to be more, let's say, based on small texts or small, of course, a little bit of grammar too. But the moment students start to produce language, making a lot of mistakes, and this is not a problem, on the contrary, I start to have this kind of classes. And of course, selecting material, appropriate material, comprehensible material, which is very, very important, and interesting, very compelling. This is critical. This is what you have to do is this, it has to be interesting, compelling, and at the same time, comprehensible. They need to understand. They feel good when they understand. Well, so because of this dynamism, which is different when you have classes online, this is even more important. So all these guys, let's say all these, okay, thank you, Jarvis, is to keep students engaged, all this, let's say, interesting material, according to their levels, is to have their attention. And then little by little they improve, little by little they get even more interested, and that's that's a goal. That's the goal when you teach English, and of course, in this case, not necessarily online, but in this case, online. When we have classes online, something that was challenging for me is a topic that is rapport. Okay, of course, I know you understand the word rapport, this relationship that you can establish with your students. When it's online, it's different. I hope no, I guess you agree with me. It's different. It's not completely different. It's just different. When it's in-person class, the report is almost immediate. It's there. It happens in 1, 2, 3 classes. But online, it takes a little longer, let's say, to establish this rapport and this connection, which is very important, very, very important to retain students, to keep students, and establish this good relationship is very important for you to have a good class and feel, you as a teacher also feel a lot better when you can establish this connection fast. And in this case, the faster, the better to establish this rapport. And I believe, not now, but I believe that in the future, when we have more, or I don't know, if the vaccine, or if we can meet students in person, I will try to have this hybrid interaction or even teaching, because all the time online is, I believe, is okay, and no problem. But I am sure that if we can establish an in-person relationship also, we will have the possibility to retain and knowing your students better will be very important, even to understand their difficulties and everything. Which do you prefer? Let's see here, Jarbas. Which do you prefer? Follow a course book, some extra activities, or prepare the whole classes from the scratch for each student? The first option, I would say, because when you prepare all the classes based on research, every class is the same. Every class is a different class that you have to prepare. I believe that on the long run, let's say, students in general, they miss this format of a course. Just a second, Johnny. I answer you. So we always have a book, okay, Jarbas, a course book with some extra activities. That's exactly what we do, and they prefer we have tests and everything. Like after, let's say, a batch of 20 classes, we have a test. They like it, and they know they will have the test, so they get prepared for that, and they have this feeling that, okay, it's online, but there is a structure of a course, and this is something that, again, in the long run, makes a difference. Maybe, Jarbas, maybe for advanced students, you will not need. So then you prepare classes and based on their needs, when we talk about maybe intermediate and advanced students. Do you teach just online? Now, yes, Johnny. Now, 100%, because of this situation, pandemic. But before the pandemic, I had 50% of students online. What about writing activities? How do you do? Good question, Johnny. When I have these video activities and even the reading activities, I always at the end of the class, the last 10 minutes of the class, I usually have students to write an opinion on the topic of the class. Let's say we talked about job satisfaction, okay? We had this first conversation. We talked about 10, 15 minutes on the topic. After that, we saw the video, we watched the video. There were some exercises, or we read the reading activity. Okay, we had discussions. We checked some vocabulary in the text, okay, or in the video. And at the end, let's say you have 10 minutes, more or less. Okay, Johnny, let's imagine. Johnny, you are my student. I would like you to write your opinion about our class today. And then we have this silent moment, which is good for you. You can relax a little bit, and the student will stop a little bit to write. And I think this is so important, because especially adults, they don't have much time to study English, you know. So I almost always have them to write about the topic we had in class. Does that answer your question, Johnny? What do you think, guys? Any other questions? Well, when you after you have your students and start using this platform that I said, whereby.com, all you need to have is practice, and you will master in a few classes. You will have, it's not difficult at all. How do you check the writing? Okay, normally, no. Normally, when they write in the chat box, I read what they wrote, and then we correct in this moment. We correct. And after, I always like to write also. So then I have the students reading what I wrote, my opinion, you know. So I read the students writing and correct in this moment. Or you have your phone together. No. This is what I do, okay, Johnny? That's the way I check their writing. When it comes to grammar, as Jarba said before, gamification is very good. I like to play games with the grammar. They really get the grammar at the end. I like to play with time expressions. I also use time expressions to teach grammar and teach verb tenses, you know. For example, you have present perfect, the present perfect, let's say, tense. Okay, they have already a little bit exposure. So then I ask them, okay, let's, I'm gonna give you some time expressions, and I'd like you to use these time expressions in a sentence, okay? Jarbas, let's say, Jarbas. The time expression for you is since 2017. Since 2017. So I'd like you to use since 2017 in a sentence. So then they try to write a sentence, they will make mistakes, you correct, and little by little they understand. and so on. Well, this is when you talk about present perfect, of course, when they already have some exposure. That's not the purpose of our class today. Let's say, Jarbas, my advanced students too just want to talk. No problem, it's common. They don't really care about writing. Their goal is to practice the conversation only. I just use the board to explain a few mistakes. Perfect. What I do in these cases, Jarbas, is like exactly what I explained. We have this class about one topic. We watch a video they love. We watch a video on the topic, and in the last 5 minutes, you ask them to write one paragraph about expressing their opinions about about the video, about the topic of the class, and they like it. They like it. It's very very no big deal to ask them to write something. You know, in the last 5 minutes or 10 minutes, something fast takes 2, 3, 5 minutes. And you can also say, Jarbas, you can also say to them, they will be learning by writing. Okay, they can even improve their speaking by writing a little bit, you know. I do that, and they love it. What do you think, Jarbas, of this idea? And Johnny? Whereby. Mm-hmm. Yep, that's true. I agree. Yeah, yeah. And it's a moment to, because we have a lot of information. You are speaking and you are reading and you are watching a video, and it's a lot of exposure. It's intense, you know. As I said before, online class is very focused. So in this moment, the last 10 minutes, when you stop a little bit, students stop a little bit to write. It's even relaxing, you know, after so much exposure and speaking and text, reading and a video activity. It's good to stop and write. And I think, as I said before, writing is very, very important. And if you don't ask, at least it happens with me. It feels like when you don't ask them to do this writing in class, they will not do later. So then when you start the next class, Jorbas, did you write? No, teacher, I forgot. I had a lot of meetings and always. Online. Well, Johnny, we are in the process of designing. We are developing our own material, our own books. It's a lot of work, but we are in this moment. We are starting to use these books, which is specially designed for online classes, but can be also printed. Students can print our material, but I use paper book. Sure, no problem. Let me show you. This one here, business result, is one that I use. And another one here that I also use for advanced students, which is business vocabulary in use, advanced. It has lots of interesting topics. Lots of interesting topics. They don't care about doing homework. Yes. they don't care about studying. They want to learn like by forceps. Not so easy, huh? Not so easy. I don't know if it was helpful, if you liked, guys. We are going to have another moment like this next Thursday at the same time. I hope it was nice. I don't know. I'd like to have your opinions. Johnny, if you have any other question, or Jarbas, that I can help you. We are going to have next Thursday at the same time, 8 o'clock, another class like this, but another topic. We will inform you, let you know later on this week or beginning of next week. Do you have any other questions or any comments you would like to make? Thank you very much, Arbas. I hope you can come next week. Thank you very much too. Have a good night. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you very much. Have a nice night and see you next week. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Bye bye. Bye bye.